This is a Tubaphone number 9 Deluxe original 5-string banjo. I'm going to mess around with it a little bit, not playing a particular song, but without the resonator. This banjo was made when resonators became fashionable, and this is a Tubaphone pot assembly, and they came up with the idea of making individual flanges to go under each nut to give them this added outside dimension where a resonator would go on. So, and later on they came up with 4-piece flanges, solid cast things, rather than these. So this is an earlier configuration. This is a circa 1928 Deluxe. It was the heavy duty. Oh, I was just checking. Sorry about that. See if it was recording. This was the top of the line back then. Let's get this a little straight here. It was the most expensive pictured banjo in their catalog at the time. They did have a description of another model in the back of the catalog that was a step up from this, but I have never seen one other than tenors and plectrums. I think they were tenors and plectrums. I don't think I've ever seen one. I've never heard of one coming up that was a number 9 Deluxe Ultra. They were trying to outdo one another back in those days for fancy and profuse carvings and things like that, and the one that's in the catalog only described the Ultra supposedly had the addition of rhinestones and also the use of celluloid, the fibrilloid stuff, which they carved and often painted, embellished, and that was pretty popular. That was the hot lick back then. They were getting away from at the time the pearl. Anyway, if you can see this carving, backstrapping. These are a later period though. Planet pegs, 4-to-1 gear ratio, planet pegs with mother of pearl buttons. The original ones were 2-tab Grovers, and I left the holes in, and I just put the screws back from the 2-tab tuners just in there, and it's backstrapped, and I love this abalone capping. The ones that the number 9s, that the earlier number 9s, the resonators weren't yet designed, like 1909, and the bracket band on those was engraved, but on the resonated banjos the bracket band was not engraved for the most part. Now there's probably exceptions to that rule somewhere, but anyway, the ones that I've seen with the resonator flanges didn't have an engraved bracket band. The flanges are engraved, and I believe some of them were stamped. There was a stamping for flanges back then. The earlier ones, the earlier Tubaphone number 9s, number 9 Deluxes, the inlays the fingerboard inlay was at the 9th on the early ones, as were other banjos also. Then at some point they switched over and placed it at the 10th fret. I put there's a geared 5th peg, which I kind of like. The peg head is bound. The original Kirshner Deluxe tailpiece. It's a non-toggled edition, and I believe I've seen them where the Kirshner was toggled and engraved, so that would come off an earlier version.